up, guys? Jake with TN Tactical comes with another special red dot video. Today I've got a new one for you from a new company. Well, new to me at least. They may have been out for a while. This is a red dot from Vector Optics. It is the Frenzy. This is a multi-reticle pistol red dot RMR pattern that they have put out recently. They sent out to me. They know, or hopefully they know by now, that anytime we get free stuff on a channel like this, we tend to beat the piss of it. So today we are going to go over all the specs and features, zero the actual red dot, and then we're going to beat the living piss out like we always do to see if it can hold that zero or survive for that matter. We do this because we think it's important to us, and probably to you at home to know, is stuff like this, you know, this budget friendly stuff is worth your time, and more importantly, your hard-earned money. So with all that being said, let's see how she does. Also, if you hear that noise, it almost sounds like an electric car, that noise that an electric car makes. That's the sound of cicadas. I guess it's cicada season. They're out in full force, so I apologize ahead of time if you hear a bunch of background noise. That's kind of annoying. I can't really do anything about that. All right, I'm out here right at 23 yards. So probably the furthest distance you'd want to actually shoot your handgun in self-defense. Let's see where we're at here. Right out of the box. All right, so going over all the specs and features of the Frenzy. It is actually one of their multi-reticle options. What that means is you've got three different options. The first one that comes by default is a dot in the middle, which is 3 MOA, a 38 MOA circle, and a 40 or 45 MOA little hash marks on the side, kind of like making it look like an EOTech almost. Or if you don't want that, you can actually press and hold the brightness up button and it'll switch to just a dot. Or you can press and hold it again, it will switch to the actual just like circle. Well, I don't know why you want that, maybe for shotgun powering, I don't know. Or if you press and hold it again, it'll give you the full thing again. Now this does use a CR2032 battery, which is great. Unfortunately, at least with the one I got, it did not come with the battery, so thankfully I had one laying around. But keep that in mind, Vector Optics, if you're listening, I really wish this came with the battery out of the box, because a lot of times we don't want to spend the extra $5 or $6 to go and get a battery from Walmart. Now with that battery, they advertise at least that's supposed to get about 50,000 hours of battery life on the lowest brightness setting. Speaking of brightness, you do have 10 different brightness settings, 8 of which are going to be for daylight use, 2 of which are going to be for night vision. On top of that, it does have the standard now at this point, the standard shake awake technology or motion sensing technology, where essentially you set this thing down and after some time it will actually turn off, saving you your precious battery life until you pick it back up, and then it turns back on at the same brightness you had at originally before turning it off. Of course, if you don't want that, you can of course hold the brightness down button and it will turn off for you manually, but it won't come back on until you actually press the brightness up button. If you manually turn it off and it's off completely, then, well, it doesn't matter if you pick it up, it's not going to work. Now, with this reticle, you actually get 1 MOA adjustments. Very nice, pretty standard across the board. Elevation, windage, 1 MOA adjustments. One cool thing here, I'm going to zoom in so you can see it. There's your elevation, there's your windage right there, and of course we are unloaded. Actually, I haven't even fired this yet. But look here, you see the little ears right there, the little bunny ears? So that is supposed to serve as your rear sight. In case you are not as tactical as I and you don't have the suppressor height sights, well, you run the risk of basically having this red dot body block your ability to use your rear sight if it's a standard height sight, unlike this. So basically the idea is that you'll be able to use those little notches there as a makeshift red sight, and you can tell it lines up very nicely in case I ever had to do it. Well, you can see it would actually be very practical and tactical. Going back to the battery, you do have a side loading battery tray, very standard, very nice. It doesn't load from the bottom, thank goodness, because we don't want to lose our zero having to replace the battery. It features a large window here. You see that? Very large. And anytime I see a large, thin frame, a housing like this, it really makes me worried that we may end up accidentally breaking this when we do our torture test. Now, they do say that this one is supposed to actually have a titanium alloy housing. Now, what percentage of that is titanium and what percentage is something else like aluminum? I don't know. But hopefully this will actually survive our torture test without cracking. That would be phenomenal, because if you've been subscribed to the channel for a while now, if you haven't been subscribed, you should. It's really cool. We beat the shit out of a lot of red dots. But if you've been around, you know that anytime we see like a thin housing like this, and we proceed to drop it on the brick of damnation, well, it doesn't usually turn out too well. So I'm very excited to see how this one turns out today. I think you guys are going to be enlightened, and I know I certainly will be as well. And before I forget, before we do that torture test, it does come with an RMR adapter plate like this. This is not the exact one it came with, but I forgot to bring it out here. We have it mounted on the pistols. This is essentially what it comes with as well. One of these little babies right here. So this right here will allow you to mount it onto an AR rail, anything with a Picatinny rail essentially. It is nice of them that they thought about that, because if you've been around, you know that these things are sometimes stupid expensive for what they are. So good on them for sending us one of these as well. And I'm gonna shoot the steel in the middle there just to confirm that we are good to go here. Seems like it. Not bad at 23 yards. I will take that. Behold, the tree of damnation. This is where red dots go to be tested. If you ever had to use your red dot like a hammer hitting a nail. If you look closely here, we got some tree bark, we got some tree juice, all that good stuff. But if you actually look through here, well, you can kind of see the red dot. Let me focus it for you. Keep in mind, I'm just doing the dot here. You can kind of see it. Oh, there it is. Okay. Now I switch it to just a dot, but you can see there it is. It is good to go. Check out the glass. There's the front of it. There, I mean, again, there's like some spots on there from bark and stuff hitting it, but no cracks, no damage whatsoever. Slight shift to the left. Let you see what we got here. If you look closely here, you can see I started with the steel target there, and I got a slight shift to the left there. Took my time and aimed a little bit more with the rubber target, and you can see again it has shifted slightly, ever so slightly to the left. What's funny is they both have like one little bullet that I pulled down. See that? Each of them has like their own one bullet hole, or marking I should say, like 3 inches below the grouping. I don't know what that's all about, but yeah, so far it's still good, just slight shift there. Again, I don't expect you to smack it against the damn tree of damnation like we did, though. Behold, the brick of damnation. This is where red dots come to live or die. This is where we take a fully loaded magazine, and of course the gun is empty, of course, free and clear. But we are going to put the loaded magazine to simulate the weight of a fully loaded handgun, and then we're going to proceed to drop it onto the brick of damnation, directly onto the red dot. Chest high. We're going to do, let's say 5 drops. Is that fair? 5 drops. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Well, that's all it took. So we did 1 drop, and make sure it's unloaded real quick here, all that good stuff, and it did. It's not looking good, friends. It's yeah, can y'all see that? Yeah, you can see that. Holy crap, it's completely cracked. Yeah, I dropped it directly, as you see. That's where it landed, and it cracked on 1 drop. I cannot feel the cracks on the outside. Can I feel them on the inside? Nope. Oh yeah, actually I can feel them on the inside here, at least the lines of the cracks. Look at that. So that's unfortunate. Of course, I suspected this would happen with this thin housing. Is it bent? I can't even tell. Not really. But it was enough to keep this from breaking, unfortunately. We're still going to check the zero. New feature on TN Tactical. Safety. After analyzing all of the past red dot drop tests that we've been able to do on the channel with the help of the world's leading research scientists, powered by the TN Tactical blockchain, I have devised a device to keep me safe from glass of this red dot blowing back and hit me in the face. I would estimate, again, according to the TN Tactical blockchain, that there is roughly a 70% chance, likelihood, that we will have glass come back and hit me in the face. Looking through the broken glass here. I'm still a little bit low. Let me actually try to aim here. All right, it's actually aiming where I hit, so that's good. I'll show you what we got here. So if you look carefully here, you will see I was aiming at the target on the left, and it's going to look like it's shifted down. I kind of, again, by default, was aiming at the bottom half of the A zone. As you can see there, it's more or less where I was aiming. There is a slight shift to the left, of course, as we noticed before. But overall, it's more or less where I was aiming once I was consciously aware that I was aiming at the bottom half of the A zone. So not that bad. And as far as glass breaking goes, I've got a black shirt on for a reason. Usually you can see shards of glass easier, and I don't think I have any glass on me. It doesn't look like any glass shattered off of this. Oh, but the front though, hang on. Nope, front's good too. So that's good, I guess, you know, for what it's worth, that glass didn't actually come back and hit me in the face. I like that. I'm glad I didn't need this. All right, so how do I feel about the Vector Optics Frenzy? I gotta say, it performed about as well as I expected. You know, anytime you got thin housing like this, even though it's a titanium alloy, typically you do see it crack when we drop it onto the brake. Now, do I expect you guys to drop your red dots on brakes? No, obviously not. Nor do I expect you to hammer it against the tree of damnation. It's just not really something you typically do. I do this because you'd be surprised how well somebody's performing. In this case, I think it actually did pretty well, considering it just has slight shift in zero despite all that. And yeah, you can still use the actual red dot through the broken glass if you needed to. Is this the best performing red dot that we've had on the channel? No, obviously it's not. But the one thing I saw that stood out about this one, it does come with a lifetime warranty, no questions asked. Obviously, if you're out here doing what I just did and you present it to them, I doubt they're gonna replace it or fix it for you. You know what I'm saying? But anything outside of loss, theft, or bullshit like this, if you send it back to them and explain what happened, they will replace it for you or fix it, no questions asked. No receipt, no nothing. Just contact them and they'll make it right for you. How do I feel overall? There's a couple nitpicks. I wish it came with a battery, and I wish the housing was a little bit more durable. It's a rather large window, not as big as an SRO, but it's kind of a good sized window, making it easier to find the red dot. We just lost a little bit of zero, which, I mean, what can you expect? Overall, I like it. You know, it's pretty much right in the middle of the pack with the other red dots we reviewed on the channel. But I think overall, if you're just wanting to know if it's going to hold zero for you and be reliable, like no weird short circuiting or anything like that, I'm happy to say I think this will be good for you. And I think you'll like it too. Guys, that's going to wrap up today. If you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. What do you think about the Vector Optics Frenzy TI? Love to hear from you. We will see you next time.